Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about Entrepreneurship 101, starting a successful business. That's right, we're going back to school. Just kidding. I'm not going to torture you like that. So I am a professor. I do teach business law at Southwestern Community College as well as Pepperdine. I'm a adjunct professor teaching business law at Pepperdine in their MBA program. So yeah, we're kind of doing a little bit of school right now. We're going to teach you a little bit of entrepreneurship. If you're confused or question or, I don't know, just starting to figure stuff out, this is going to be a great overview of what you need to know about starting that successful business. So if you're new here, my name is Taylor Darcy from Think Legal, where I help people and businesses thrive. That's right. So if you're at all needing legal help, feel free to reach out, leave comments below, come attend my lives. I go live every Monday through Friday, except for holidays at 11. And so yeah, join me. I'd be happy to talk with you and help answer questions that you might have. So I'm excited to be here. It's Tuesday, and let's get started, shall we? All right, so entrepreneurship tends to be a fairly vague concept, right? There's a lot of people that talk about it. There's a lot of people that think about it. And there's always a new guru. There's always someone out there that's willing to share their secrets with you for the price of a book or price of an ebook. And while I don't say anything's wrong with that, I'm simply saying a lot of them, maybe their interests aren't as pure. And I'm not suggesting that, I mean, I hope you subscribe to my videos, but my point is that entrepreneurship there's not one clear absolute definition of it. And so we're not going to define it, but we're going to talk about what it is and how you can get to that successful business that you've been thinking about. Because if you're like most people, you think about something a long time before you actually do something. And so we're going to give you the steps that you need to take in order to get where you want to be. Okay. So number one, this is probably the most important aha moment I've had, is you need to define what a successful business is. And you're like, well, if I knew that, I wouldn't need you. Okay. What do I mean by that? If the purpose of your business is to fill in the blank, then how do you know if you're ever going to get there if you don't define what it is? So for instance, if it's to completely replace your income, then okay, great. Say you want to go from your side hustle to your main hustle. So you want to start a side hustle now and develop it into a full-on business. Awesome. But then what? What does that mean for you? Where are you headed with it? Is it so you can buy a house? Is it so that you can afford a car? Is it that's what your dream job has always been and you're just not able to get there yet? So it's very important that you look and you think about what success is for you, not anybody else. Has nothing to do with anybody else as far as success is concerned. Because if you're thinking, oh, well, I need to have this big fancy Lambo, or I need to have this $1 million mansion, maybe that's not right for you, right? You need to define success at your end goals. And that's part of entrepreneurship, because it's not just the simple answer of starting a business. That's a oversimplification of the answer. So keep that in mind. If you don't define your success, how will you know if you reach it? I want you to think about that for a bit. Okay, the next thing, plan. Oh my gosh, this is one of those ones, please, for the love of all that's good and holy in this world. If you've watched my videos, if you've thought about it at all, you have to plan. People just start without a plan, and it's like you don't even know what you're trying to do. right? You just start it and it's like, okay, I'm going to do it. Woo! And it's so exciting. That only will get you so far. Okay. And what do I mean by plan? I'm not saying you have to sit down and do a full-on business plan, although that is a good idea. But I'm saying you need to sit down and start writing out your goals and then how you're going to get there, right? Sit down, make those rights. Take the time to define not only what success is, but how you're going to get there, right? This is the how part. If you want success, you have to figure out how to get there, not just to get there, right? So you're going to sit down and you're going to start figuring out everything. And this is where the magic is. This is where the fun is, because it allows you to dream. I want you to dream about and then put that on paper. How are you going to get to your success goal, right? Putting it down. Okay, so I need to do this and start working backwards. Okay, if I'm selling a book, okay, and I need, for $20, if that's the cost of the book or that's how much I'm in, what's your profit on that? How many books do I need to sell in order to get my profit? So then start going backwards, right? I want $1 million in profit. Okay. So if my profit margin on a book is $10, and I don't know, I'm just using numbers here, then that means you need to sell X number of books in order to do $1 million. Well, the next part is, how do you sell X number of books? Okay. There are lots of ways to do that. So then you start looking at it from that perspective. Okay, so how am I going to sell that number of books? Okay, I've got lots of different marketing opportunities out there. There's Google, there's websites, there's pay-per-click, there's YouTube, there's Facebook, there's Twitter, there's LinkedIn. And then here's one of the keys to this, and this is why planning is so important. You market to the people that actually want to buy your book. I know that's a crazy concept, but if you're talking about a parenting book, and I'm just using that as a good one, for instance, if you're talking about a parenting book, you're obviously not going to sell it to non-parents, right? So that shrinks your market. So maybe you're going to advertise it to people that have visited Bye Bye Baby or have visited other forums where there's families and parents and stuff like that. And point is that you're going to plan these things out, because the more you plan, the more success that you'll see, and you'll be able to measure success. So many entrepreneurs that I know, so many business owners that I know that get started, they have no idea how to get where they're going to get. They just want to do the thing that they're wanting to do. And so it creates a real problem when you don't plan. The old saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? But a lot of the people that I talk with, they don't bother to plan. And it's so frustrating, because then when they come to me and there's a problem, it's like the problem could have been solved if they'd have just planned. Okay. So that's number 2. Entrepreneurship is about solving problems. Okay. That should be your goal. If you're not solving a problem, what are you doing? Being in business for yourself is great. But if you want to have the kind of success that you want and are trying and pushing forward to have, then you have to solve a problem. Once you identify that problem, I guess you could probably do number 2 and 3 are probably really close to each other at the same time, right? What problem are you going to solve? And then plan on how you're going to solve it. That's probably a better way of doing it, okay? So I want you to think about that. What problem am I solving? Because people that don't solve a problem go out of business very fast. Okay? If you're solving a problem, sky's the limit. You can accomplish anything because you're solving a problem. Because you're not focused on the product, you're focused on solving the problem. That's why that's so important. People focus on their product before they focus on solving a problem. Like if you're writing a book, great, awesome, but what problem does that book solve? Who are you talking to? I don't know. That's up to you. That's for you to decide. I can't decide these things for you. But this is why it's so important that you're sitting down and planning these things. Because if you're not solving a problem with your book, then don't bother writing it. Just truth. It's not worth it. If you can't add something to the discussion and the conversation, probably best that you don't. Okay? The next thing, this is one of those ones that a lot of small businesses and entrepreneurs kind of get okay-ish, but mostly not. They don't develop systems and processes. A system is what will make your job go from amazing to, or from good to amazing. Your systems are what the value of the company is, not the value of the product, the value of the company. Because if you develop these processes and systems, and then those are things that you can transfer to someone, that has so much more value than someone that just has a book that they can transfer, right? You can sell the rights to the book and somebody else can sell that book, right? That doesn't have as much value because it's got your name on it, versus if you're selling a book that's been published, that you've got a way of increasing sales year over year, whatever it is that you're looking to do, then you've got something that has more value. Plus, it makes your life easier as an entrepreneur. So don't forget about that. If you create systems, you can work the system instead of having to try to go all over the place all day, right? A lot of entrepreneurs are like that. They start with, oh, I've got to do this, 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 and then it's just snowballs and their day's out of control and they don't know where they did it. And it's because they didn't have a system in place to handle the problems and the things that they were supposed to have. All right. That's it. Develop systems and processes. Sit down, write them out. Do you notice I've said write a lot? There's a reason for that. Now, I don't mean you actually have to physically write it if you're not so inclined. You can do it on a computer. You can do it in a Trello board. There's lots of ways that you can do it. Work with what you know. Now, paper is obviously going to be the cheapest, right? It doesn't cost you anything. I mean, well, relatively speaking, it's not very expensive. So if you have to start with paper, start with paper. It can always be transferred to computer later. If you don't have a computer, that's fine. You don't need a computer for the most part, right? If you really are committed to success, there will be nothing that stands in your way. I'm going to say that again. If you are committed to success, there is nothing that will stand in your way. You will find a way. You will get up off the couch when it's inconvenient. You will go to the library if that's all you've got. If you can't afford to buy a computer, okay, you will go to the library and you will spend as much time as you can on the library. The rest of the time you'll be writing things down and you'll be figuring things out, right? Calculators don't cost that much. You can work with those types of things until you can afford more, until you've been able to sell enough to cover a computer, right? You will find a way if you want it bad enough. I found a lot of times people kind of sort of want it. They're kind of in it. They want the success without the work. Okay? And that's one of the problems I see. They want to be successful, but they're only kind of involved with it. So you got to ask yourself, are you being successful? Are you wanting success not just because you want it, but because you're willing to work for it? That's the ultimate. If you're not willing to work for it, then don't. But don't complain about success not being yours simply because you're not willing to work for it. All right, so consistency. How often do you show up? You do a workout every day, you're going to see some success. You do workout for 8 hours one day, and you're going to be dead. But if you show up 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, you're going to be successful. That consistency is going to reward. It may take time. It's not something that happens overnight. It's not something that you can just kind of sort of maybe get there when you feel like it. You have to do it even when it's inconvenient, even when there's other things you'd rather be doing. You have to show up consistently all the time, right? Now, that doesn't mean you can't take breaks. I'm not suggesting that you're going to be a work machine. You need to take care of yourself. You need to do mental health breaks. You need to have food breaks. You need to take breaks and spend time with your family. But there will come moments where you have to sacrifice for your dream, right? There's only 24 hours in a day. That's all we get. And if you blow 7 or 8 of it on something, then you're not going to have that to devote to getting your success. All right. Hold on one second. All right. So this is the next one. This is the saying I've heard before. I don't know who said it. So if you know, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to find out who actually said this. But I want you to think about this. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Okay? It's very important that you think about that. There have been countless number of people in this world that have been insanely talented, but they didn't work for it. They didn't magnify that talent. They just let it go to waste. They just, it's like they just kind of wanted it. They didn't really want it. So I promise you that if you're willing to work hard for your success, your business, your entrepreneurship, it doesn't matter. Okay? You're going to outwork that person because they're going to think their talent's going to get them farther than it is. And that's not true. Your hard work can beat anything. Now, if you're talented and you have hard work, then great. You've got that. If you're, a savant when it comes to business, awesome. So much better. Like your life will be easier. But for the most part, it's a struggle. So you got to work hard. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think there's a weird thing in today's society that says I don't have to work hard to get what I want, right? I mean, there are definite barriers to entry. Like I was talking about with the computer, that's a barrier to entry for a lot of jobs. If you don't have a computer, how can you do some things? That's true. But there are ways, right? Like I was saying, you can start writing paper. You can get $1 notebook, right? You need $1 to get a notebook? I'll give you $1 to get a notebook. I don't even care. Like, right? Like, you need a notebook to get started? I'll get you. Okay? That's how serious I am. That's why I publish these on YouTube, because that's free. I don't have these behind some paywall. I want you to have the skills, the knowledge, the learning that you need in order to be successful. Right? That's free. You can go to you can find me at the library. Need to watch my videos to get inspiration, to find ways to do things? You can go anywhere, right? YouTube's everywhere. All right. This is one of those ones that I got to tell you. Sean Cannell said it best, to punch fear in the face and hit record, but I'm going to amend that to say punch fear in the face and do it. Learn as you go and get better each day. Fear is going to be your greatest obstacle. More people quit because they're afraid of failure, and in some instances, they're afraid of success, than people that fail because they have a bad product. I'm here to tell you right now, if you're dreaming, if you're thinking of doing this, then you're good enough. Fear doesn't exist in this success. You don't think that people have been scared of doing things in the past and still did it? That's how you get through it. Oh, I think John Wayne is... someone actually said something to the effect of, fear is being so scared that you pee your pants. Courage is doing what you said you were going to do anyway. Even when you've peed yourself. Fear is your greatest obstacle. Not all of this other stuff. Something somewhere inside of you is said to, in the back of your head, that you're not good enough. Or that you're not worthy. Or whatever bull that someone's told you. Oh, it won't work. And they spew these statistics. 90% of all businesses fail within 5 years. That's a scary statistic. Okay. But why did they fail? Have you done the research, or is it just you taking it as a blanket statement? All right. So you sit here and you're ruminating on this, and the fear just starts compounding, and you're thinking to yourself, well, I can't do this. These people are way smarter than I am, and they couldn't do it. But they're not you. It's not their dream. You're not living somebody else's dream. Fear is the greatest obstacle to success. But it can motivate you. Because there's two sides of fear. There's fear of what could go right and fear of what could go wrong. I know you're like, what? There's fear that something could go right? Yeah, there is. People are afraid of success. You're like, no, what are you talking about? If I had success, I'd be happy. It's not real. Why do you think lottery winners go broke very quickly after they win their money? Because it's about mindset. They don't acquire the mindset of a wealthy person. They've been living as a poor person that now has money. They are afraid of success. And so they will blow their money. They won't invest it properly. They won't seek wise counselors. They're afraid of success. They have it. They have the money. There's no problem, right? Most people would be like, oh, I'd love to win the lottery. I wouldn't. I'll be honest with you. Because when you're dealing with the junk that you go through, you're learning the skills of success, which means when you finally do get that money, you'll make good choices with it. It's going through that fire of being an entrepreneur that you're able to be successful and not fear success. Because you've been through it. You've been through the failures. So you no longer have to worry about fear of success because you've already dealt with your fear of failure. Okay. Next thing is, done is better than perfect. Oh my gosh, this is the next one. This is the next one. This is the magic. This is where so many entrepreneurs get trapped. I can't tell you how many times I see this with business owners. They're stuck trying to perfect something that can't be perfected, and so they don't keep doing. Oh, it breaks my heart to see them stuck in this perfectionism rut. Okay? Nothing you do is perfect. Get over it. And I don't mean that to be mean. I mean that don't let perfectionism kill your dreams. Done is better than perfect. Because if you spend 6 months to get to perfect, look at all the missed opportunities that you had. All of the things that you could have been successful at. You could have succeeded in that same period of time. Or you could have had 10 or 15 failures along the way and got to that 16th success. But you're trying to come out with a perfect product. It doesn't exist. Here's how I can tell you that the best way to do is innovate. Start with the product that exists. Improve it. And then you find more ways to improve it. And then you improve it again. And then you improve it again. Look at software. Software is a great one. It starts with version 0.1 or whatever version you want to start with, 1.0. And then it gets pushed out. And then that 1.0 gets changed to 1.2 or 1.1 or 1.6 and and it ends up at, Apple OS. Look at cars. Are you telling me that in the 80s that engineers couldn't figure out a way to make a 2-door minivan No, that's called planned obsolescence, but I digress. My point is, life is an iterative process. So is business. Don't worry so much about being perfect. You're not going to get there. You can get better each day. If you're 1% better today than you were yesterday, after a year, that's 365% better. That's 3.65 times better. That's how you move mountains. That's how you keep pushing forward, right? You use the compounding effect to your benefit. That's where you are. That's where your magic is. Don't worry about being perfect. Get it done. Start today. I'm not kidding. Get that notebook out and start writing your goals. One of my favorite TV series is Suits. Highly inaccurate, but it's fun to watch. One of the things that Harvey Specter, the main character, says on there, I don't have dreams, I have goals. And I'm on to the next one. So start with that. Start thinking about your goals. Don't be dreaming. Dreams are for people that have time to waste or that have been given things on a silver platter. As an entrepreneur, you have time for goals. Again, I'm not suggesting you have to sacrifice your life for the entirety of your becoming an entrepreneur and being in business for yourself. Take time for yourself. The old adage, the old plane adage, right? You have to be able to put oxygen, if in the case of a depressurization of the cabin, you have to put on the oxygen mask first so that then you can help others. And the same thing is true with an entrepreneur. If you're burned out, you can't help anybody. If you can't help others, then what are you doing? Right? You're not solving that problem. So, these people that say, oh, you have to work like 30 hours a week or 30 hours a day. That's the only way to get it done. If you're sleeping, you're wasting time. I disagree vehemently with that. You need to take care of yourself so that you can be at your best self. So that you can be as sharp as you can possibly be. Not risking the things that take you down. Like cortisol is a stress hormone in your body that gets released when you're super stressed. Guess what? As an entrepreneur, you're going to be super stressed. How do you work with that? You sleep. You exercise. You take care of your body. You meditate. You do what it takes to be successful. And sometimes that means taking care of yourself. Go spend time with people that you care about. I spend time with my family. Now, I still have to work sometimes. It's not as though I get to do that all of the time. The point is to take care of yourself, take care of the people that you love, but don't get complacent. Okay? Do your best. Learn and keep going. Anybody that says they have all the answers doesn't have all the answers. There are so many gurus out there that will tell you, do this or do that and you'll be successful. And everybody's looking for a quick fix. But the Grand Canyon didn't become the Grand Canyon overnight. The Grand Canyon started out as a small little stream, developed over time. Success takes time. Patience takes time. Everybody's a success overnight after they've worked for 7 years or whatever, right? Like all you see is the success. You don't see the sleepless nights, the struggle, the process that went into that. So don't compare your journey to anyone else's. Your journey is yours. Your race is your race. If you start out by getting that notebook from me and you're writing in that and that's where your goals are, that's your story. That's not Bill Gates's. That's not Steve Jobs. That's not Elon Musk's. That's your story. That's going to be an awesome story. That's what we're talking about here. Your race is not anyone else's. You can't compare the two. If you have to write it on a napkin because you can't get a notebook, that's your story, right? That's your beginning of your story. When you compare yourself to other people's success, you're comparing them to their ending, to their success point, when you're nowhere near that, right? You're starting out. Sometimes success takes a lot longer than you hope. But if you keep at it day after day, you're going to be successful. A drip can cause a hole in a rock. One drip at a time. Eventually that rock gives way. Now, does that take a while? Sure, absolutely. But the gravity and the liquid falling equals a hole. Your business can be the same thing. Keep dripping every day. Now you may think, well, what if I drip a lot during the day? Well, here's the problem with that. You only have 24 hours. You only have so much energy that you can work with. So you can't possibly drip more than you can drip. Like, what if I do a fire hose or pressure washer? I know you're thinking. The problem with that is that's not sustainable. You need to have sustainable growth. Most businesses, it's like a firecracker, right? Do you want a slow burn of a nice campfire that keeps people warm, that invites people into their business? Or do you want the ooh-ah and excitement of a firecracker, right? What's your business? What are you trying to do here? If you want the firecracker, fine, but know that you're going to have a lot of firecrackers in order to be successful, right? In order to have a successful fireworks show, you got to have a lot of firecrackers, because one firecracker is kind of boring. Versus if you have a campfire where people come and they enjoy and they sit down in your business and they're comfortable, they're going to invite their friends. They're going to invite their family. They're going to invite the people that they know to come join them at the campfire. Now, in case you didn't figure it out, and I hope you did, but your business, is it a fire camp? Is it a campfire? Or is it a firecracker? You got to keep putting fuel on that fire to keep it going, right? Right? What do you need? You need oxygen, you need heat, you need fuel. Those three things, right? Keep moving forward. Keep putting wood on that fire. And you'll get success. You'll be able to warm so many people and help so many people. Fireworks are fun to watch, but that's it. What are you doing then? What's your business? What's your purpose? So this is entrepreneurship in a nutshell. You got a lot. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to talk about here. Don't think that you're going to learn everything overnight. One of the things that I love, and I'm grateful that I'm an attorney, is that I learn all the time. I'm constantly reading books. Those books behind me are not just props. Don't get me wrong. Some of them are, full disclosure, because they're not good law anymore. But most of the books are books I've read or planning on reading. I'm constantly learning because it never stops. I know that I can be better, but it takes time to do that. You're not going to get better overnight. You're not going to be successful. We're going to wake up tomorrow, work out 8 hours, and have a six-pack. That's just not how it works. That's not how life works, right? You're going to acquire knowledge as you go. You're going to learn. You're going to see things that other people do and go, oh, that might work for me. And then guess what? It's not going to work. But then you see something else, and that something else works for you. So that's why you got to document this. That's why you need to put that system in process, in place, because that worked for you. That works for your business. Write that sucker down. Put that in your plan and go, woo, I'm on it. This is the stuff. Exactly. Constantly learning. That is so important. You have to. Like, one of the reasons why I chose to become an attorney was because of the constant learning. Because I didn't want to just be stuck. So many people, they get into a job and they're miserable. And a lot of the reason why they're miserable is because they stop learning. They stop progressing. They stop evolving as a human being. If you're evolving, if you're changing, if you're innovating your life, you're going to be so much more successful than someone that's like, they just go to do their job. I'm happy. I get a paycheck. That's all I get. Right? That's not happy. That's getting a paycheck. Yeah, sure, you can pay your bills. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with paying your bills. I'm saying that if that's all you're satisfied with doing with your job, you need to do more. There's always more to be done with your job. There's always more to be done as an entrepreneur. You want the success that you're dreaming of, if you're thinking of, it's a constant process. It's an iterative process. Why do you think we're on iOS 15.4 at this point? Right? Why do you think we have iPhone 13 or Samsung Galaxy S26 or whatever it's that? I don't know. My point is that if you approach your life like this, you will be significantly more successful. One of the things, David Goggins, I've read his book, Can't Hurt Me. Great book. If you have the money or whatever, I highly recommend his book. He is amazing. But one of the things that you have to do and learn is to embrace the difficulty. He uses a different term. He went through SEAL training camp, I believe 3 times. He's like the only person in military history that's done, I believe, Army Ranger School as well as Navy SEALs. And I believe he was trying to do Delta School and he couldn't do it. I'd have to refresh my memory on that, on the notes. But those things are physically very demanding, right? The only way he got through them was by embracing, as he says, embracing the suck. To lean into it. The thing that you think is your weakness, there's a TikTok person that said, the thing that you think is your weakness might actually be your superpower. Maybe that's the thing that you have to concentrate on in order to be successful. That you have to pay a little more attention to in order to achieve your goals. Right? No, I'm not saying that's completely 100% accurate. But what's your superpower? Right? Everybody has one. I don't know yours. Leave them in the I'd love to hear, if you watch this video, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what your superpower is. You know you have it. I want you to think about that for a second. What's your superpower? Okay. David Goggins apparently is to, go through crazy stuff. Thank you, Devil Dog. Yeah, it is. Everybody's trying to figure it out. So do yourself a favor and be patient with yourself. All right, that's all I got. So I'm so glad. I mean, not all that I've got. That's all I've got for today. I've been on for a while. Compassion. That's right. Gabriella, that's great. Compassion, empathy. It's in short supply these days. We need more of that. We need leaders who exhibit those characteristics. The tough as nails gets the press, but the reality is the most successful leaders are some of the most compassionate. The ones that are able to identify with their people, with their consumers, with the people they lead, right? Strong isn't always the strongest. The people that are willing to be vulnerable and expose and feel, right, are leading in different ways than we could ever hope. Learning who you are is as important as learning what you're supposed to do. So if you've gotten value out of this video, or if you want to subscribe, feel free to hit that bell icon and notified of when we go live. And I go live Monday through Friday, 11 to whenever I'm done. This is probably the longest that I've gone live in forever. But thank you for showing up, because that's part of success. As I said, I believe it was yesterday, one of my friends who runs a construction business, he's successful because he shows up when other people don't. Until next time, have a great day, and we'll see you later, okay? Take care.